Hello and welcome to another episode of Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown. So in our last episode we rescued Kez, we sorted out some of our ship and got that being repaired as much as on the decks that we have access to. We also started the workshop task in order to allow us to beam in to the underground Ocampan colony city, because we need to rescue Chakotay and Tom Paris. So that's where we left off last time. So yeah, we're just gonna see what we need to with our ship at the moment to make sure we are as comfortable as possible before we go into these away missions. So we're going to pick up some more deuterium as we've expanded our cargo bay for that, and we can also now get some more crew quarters on the build, which I think this one and maybe one more emergency quarter for the time being should be enough to house all of our crew. So we should effectively remove that morale penalty, and the only penalty we should then have will be the one for having emergency quarters anyway. So we're going to get as much resources as we can. We're going to try and, well, I say play it safe. We didn't get any negatives, we just didn't get as many resources as we probably would have wanted. So we now got our first little task by one of the crew. We need to build one quarters of our choice, or we can build enough quarters to accommodate all of the crew, or we can effectively say not now. So these are the things that will give morale boosts. Negative morale if you fail them. I think there'll also be a negative morale if we say no to them. So we're going to go into the Ocampan city. We've got to take Kess with us. We do have some security checks that we may need to make, and we also have some engineering and some science that we need to check. So B'Elanna is better at engineering than Harry, so we'll focus on the engineering side. But first we've got to deal with the group of Kazon that are at the entrance. So we're not going to be able to do this diplomatically because that is way too low. There's no way, even though the morale game would be nice, there is no way that we're going to get that. We don't have enough. So we can either use our security, get some resources, or we can go for the engineering. Now, given the fact that we've got a lot of engineering, we might actually be able to get a crit of it, but it won't give us any resources. So we'll go for the security option. We'll get the additional geranium, because that's always going to help. We can use that to build more crew quarters for our little mission. So we now need to use the transport signal amplifier that we built in the workshop. Again, both choices are going to give us science. We can either use just B'Elanna to do it, or we can use a combination. I don't see any reason for us not to use B'Elanna. Wow. My luck is great in these games. More than a 50% chance to crit. I don't crit. That is just the way my luck goes in a lot of these games. I think this is why my previous runs have failed. So we've got just enough for the diplomatic route with Kez. Didn't crit, but we have now got the assistance in locating Tom and Chakotay, which is good, and we've got 200 morale. Brilliant. Okay, so the Caretaker is now firing on the tunnel entrance, so we need to get out. We need to get out sharpish. So it's going to be 2 VUC for this anyway, so it just depends on what we do. we are over what we need on security, so we'll do that. Again, we'll try and do the smart options to make us succeed, rather than necessarily going for the resources. So this is the last choice, I believe. So we can just use as many people as we need. So we'll use both B'Elanna and Kess for this for science. For science! And we did crit, so we should get additional science. So we got 27 rather than... I can't remember how much you said we were going to get normally. But we got more science. And we also leveled up some of our crew as well, which is good. So we've now got Chakotay and Paris back on Voyager. That's positive. Okay, so we now need to deal with the rest of the Caretaker storyline. We should have enough resources to build what we need. We certainly should have enough fuel. So we'll learn some elements about the Acampa. See if we can gain a little bit of knowledge into what the Caretaker is doing. Again, I have watched Voyager, so I know roughly the storyline. But we'll try and explore the options, because again, I don't know if you know, not checking these things will block you in certain things in the future. I know there are certain sort of mission outcomes that can change sort of the technology you get. Again, I think, as I said in the last episode, I think the early elements to this game, certainly this Sector 1, is fairly static. So I think we're in a good spot just to play a little bit looser. So Tuvok seems to have put it all together. So effectively, Caretaker is dying. He's going to try and safeguard the Acampa from the Kazon, effectively closing the entrance and exit to their city, so that the Kazon can definitely not get in easily. But it does trap the Acampa to their fate, basically, unless they get out. So Tuvok wants a more assertive approach, maybe necessary. Guessing he's going to want us to get shields and weapons back online, but we have already been doing that. We've repaired as much as we can. I think the only two elements that we haven't repaired yet are the shuttle bay and the forward shuttle bay, which is the trading bay, just because they require resources that we don't have at the moment. So I think we've skipped ahead on that because we were a little bit more prepared than the game anticipated. It's nice when because effectively this Sector 1 is the tutorial of the game, really. So it's nice when the game can anticipate the player being a little bit more on the ball, or having played this, you know, before. So it looks like we're now going to be entering the spaceship battle tutorial, where we fight against the Marquis ship. Now, we'll be honest, I would like... Ooh, another little task. Harry Kim, full storage. So, 30 cycles to build a new cargo bay, or say we can't afford it right now. I think we're going to need to build a new... We're going to want more cargo bays anyway, so there's no harm in doing that. The question will be whether I've got the space. So, ship combat in this is basic. It's effectively an auto-battler, to a point. You pick which crew members that you want in those 3 slots, and different crew members will have different abilities that they can use throughout the combat. They're on a cooldown, so you can only trigger them at certain points of time. Tom's an example, does an evasive maneuver. Tuvok fires more phasers, does more damage, and Harry Kim does... he weakens their shields, so effectively we can do more damage to the shields. So the reason why I say combat is a little bit basic in this, and I personally would probably want more.
Moving to attack the port side.
When I say more, I'd probably want a little bit more control over it. Because all you can really do is you order which ship subsystem of your enemy that you want to target. So you can target weapons, shields, engines, or their warp core. And depending on what you've destroyed, will depend on how the enemy ship reacts. So if you take out the enemy ship's weapons, they won't be able to fire back. If you take out their engines, they'll stop and they won't be able to run.
Enemy shields destroyed.
Shields, they won't have any defenses, etc. You do have some defensive maneuverability as well,
Enemy shields
but it is limited to protect this side, protect that side. Now, I know it sounds like I am,
Ability ready, Captain. Ability ready,
completely
Captain.
ragging on the game. I just would like a bit more direct control. I think, saying protect the forward shields is great, but when you've got a forward and one of your forward shields down, and say, your starboard shield's down, I'd rather have the ability to say show this side to my enemy rather than protect this side. That type of thing. Rather than saying select which subsystem, I would rather say, attack this side. Do it that way. I know it kind of does with, the different subsystems are on, forward, aft, port, starboard, but I'd just like a little bit more control over it. But I think it does the job. I'd just like some control. So we've now completed the ship tutorial. We've got to go back to the original system. We've got to go back to the Caretaker array. But what we might as well do, when you're moving between 2 sectors, or between 2 systems within a sector, you can pick which planet you want to arrive at. Now, that's great if you've already scanned that, that system and you know what you're going to get. But if you haven't, you're arriving at a random planet, basically. You're not going to know. There are, you can get additional upgrades, additional technology that will allow you to scan systems from before you get there. We're not there yet. So we've done the crew missions, and that's given us a bump in morale. We're almost hitting our cap anyway, and we've done the cargo bay. We are going to swap the cargo bay to geranium, as we are hitting the cap on that quite regularly. And at the moment we're not really able to keep consistent, we're not able to keep deuterium up to 1500. I'm trying to add a work team to repair my hull, because after that fight, but it doesn't look like I've got the option to do that this early in the tutorial. That's fine, we're going to keep clearing out rooms. We've got plenty of work teams. It's not telling us to repair the hull, it's okay. So we are getting a morale boost on the promise fulfilled for the crew quarters. We still have 14 members of crew without quarters, so that's giving us a -11. we are still on premium replicator rations, which is, I say it's costly. I think in the grand scheme of things, yes, it's costly on fuel. But our deuterium costs are going to increase the more we upgrade our warp core anyway. So we've got that research done. So the question is, which one do we want to go for next? We could do the high morale threshold, but I think we are there. We are getting high morale threshold, but I just don't think it's worth it for that. Captain's acknowledgements would be decent, just to again give us a little bit of extra morale when we win a victory. We've also got, we can unlock crew quarters, so to get regular crew quarters. So emergency crew quarters level 2, when we upgrade the room, will give us a +6, which I think that puts it up to, I think like an 18 crew members per room, which is really good. But again, still has that minus morale on it. Again, it's, as I said in previous episodes, I'll keep saying this, it's all about balancing what you've got. I think Plasma Torch is probably going to be one of the best ones that we can go for at the moment. Because Plasma Torch will give us an increased amount of resources when clearing rooms. Now the problem is I should have done that first, because we don't really have many rooms that we can clear out at the moment. So I should have probably done that first while I had still plenty of rooms. Resource analysis, again, we're looking at the tier 2, we don't have that open yet. Resource analysis would be nice, it would tell us exactly the numbers that we'd be getting. Help us plan a little bit more. Navigational deflector I think will definitely come in handy a little bit later on when we get sectors with effectively environmental pressures. So I think at the moment we're just going to go for crew tier 2, get that unlocked so we can potentially look at upgrading our crew quarters. Because if we can upgrade a couple of these emergency crew quarters, that will give us more crew housed for less. More crew housed for the same amount of morale reduction, as far as I'm aware. I might be wrong on that, it might be an increased morale reduction, but I think it's the same. Okay, so we've got another 3 slots open. The question is, do I want to build anything at the moment? I can't repair my hull at the moment, and repairing the hull will take a lot of geranium. So we will have to do that at some point. So I think we just leave that empty. We've unlocked another ruined room. So let's continue on with the Caretaker mission and see how we go. So it looks like the Kazon are already waiting for us. So we do have the Marquis Raider as an allied ship at the moment, in a supporting role. But it looks like we're going to have a fight with the Kazon. Which that should be okay. It's tutorial at least, so we should be in a good spot. So the Kazon wants the arrays, the array for themselves, basically. So we are up against a Kazon carrier and 2 support ships.
What are your orders,
Captain?
Captain?
we do outmatch them on combat score. We can either go for the carrier first, or we can select go for the support vessels first. I think if we try and take out some of the support vessels, that might be the best way. Taking down their shields would leave them sort of defenseless.
At the starboard side, Captain.
We may want to have taken out their weapons first.
Ability ready, Captain.
We are just going to fly somewhat through the big Kazon carrier.
Ability ready, Captain.
So this is where I'd like a bit more
Moving to defend the aft, Captain.
ability to change how I'm shooting and what my positioning is, because
An enemy is surrendered, Captain.
my aft shields, were down for a period of time, and all I can do is say just don't, protect the aft shields.
Moving to attack the starboard side, Captain.
We've got one of the allied ships or support ships for the Kazon carrier out of the way. So we'll move on to the next support vessel.
Ability ready, Captain.
And then we can move on to the big one. So as we're still technically in the tutorial, again this is going to tell us about the defensive positioning, because we've lost our
Ability ready, Captain.
We've lost our
Moving to
port
defend the port
shields.
side, Captain.
Or left shields, if you will. Always remember a good little run to remember sort of your ports and starboards. Certainly the thing that
Enemy shields. Ability ready, Captain.
I was always told is just remember the little saying: there is a little red port left in the bottle. So it means port is the left, and it's also the red light on a ship or a plane, or
Ability
little
ready,
red
Captain.
port left in a bottle.
Ability ready, Captain.
Which means
Ability ready,
starboard, right, and is the green light. Useless facts. It's full of them. So we've beaten the Kazon. However, Chakotay did ram the Marquis ship into the big Kazon carrier. I don't think that was necessarily required. I think we'd won nicely without that happening. But they've got to be on our ship. We need all of the Marquis on the crew. So the Kazon are called reinforcements, so we've got a bit of a timescale to do this. So we'll have a chat with the Caretaker. We know he's dying. So we can now ask to be sent home, or there's an option, ask him to let the Acampa be free. So the main thing that we are, the main decision that I am going to do for this, just because I have played this before, and I have done this because I annoyed one of my friends that was also playing this at the time. I managed to do the whole roll to get myself home right after the first sector. I think it is you have to be fairly lucky in order to get it. It's not a high chance for it to happen. But yeah, it happened, and I'll try and make it happen. So I can put a video out to show you what happens when you do. But if I did that, it wouldn't make for a good series. So we are going to protect the Acampa and leave ourselves in the Delta Quadrant. Because if I didn't, this would be a really short series. And I think, you'll get to see a lot more of the game if I do choose this route. So we have destroyed the Caretaker array. We are stranded in the Delta Quadrant. We now have to get ourselves home. So this is effectively where the game opens up for us. And this is where we will have to manage the crew. Some of them won't be happy that we just stranded them in the Delta Quadrant. And the Kazon are also unhappy because we destroyed the Caretaker array, so they can't get hold of it. Okay, so now we've got the tutorial on our ship hull. Again, this is another one of those resources that does need to be managed because, you know, hull goes to 0, Voyager's destroyed, game over. So this is where we can now start using some of our uranium to actively repair the hull. So that will use a set number of uranium every cycle to repair elements of your hull. So, whilst we are in a fairly safe system at the moment, I think we've just got another couple of little bits of missions to do. We might as well get as much repaired as we can. We've unlocked the crew quarters level 2. So we're now going to go for the plasma torch. Probably, thinking about it, probably a little late to do that because we've got one more room of stuff that we can use at the moment. However, we will gain use of it on all of the other decks. We do now have the resources that we can use to repair one of the shuttle bays at least. Probably, I don't think we might actually have enough for both. But we'll do the normal shuttle bay. Because that will help us on some of the system checks where we need to salvage things. Oh, I've landed next to a science. Science. So we definitely want to do that because the more science we get, the more consistently we can be researching. And the more consistently we can be researching, the more upgrades that we can get. In theory, providing we've got all the other resources. We are quite low on deuterium. Yep. When you get low certainly on deuterium, you will get effectively a request to say, get us up to this amount of deuterium in this amount of time. Or your morale takes a hit. So we're going to get the trading shuttle bay repaired as well. So this is where we can now we've got the torpedo bay, we've got another option, we can just sort of destroy it with our torpedoes. We do need a little bit more deuterium to get this mission done. So we've now got the aero shuttle bay, so we can start getting trading offers. However, we do not have the crew or the power to actually keep that on. That's fine. We will sort that one out. So we'll go for the tractor beam. We'll try and get, and we got a good roll of it. So that should get the request for deuterium done, which will give us only give us a small little morale boost, but any morale boost is a good morale boost. So we can conduct a detailed analysis, get some science. We got it in the yellow, so we didn't get as much as we probably could have done. It's fine. Now I think we head to the planet we need to complete the tutorial mission and move on to the next sector. So this is where the crew comes together. We know we've got a bit of a journey home. We are going to have to make some decisions about, who serves in which role, because we've got the Marquis crew and the Starfleet crew here with us. And then certainly towards the start of the next sector, which will be in the next episode, we'll have to organise some of our crew into the rooms. So the crew will give us benefits to the rooms that they work in, basically, so we can assign them to different rooms. Looks like Neelix and Kess are coming with us, so that'll give us again another couple of crew members that we can use. Although I believe Neelix will just be kept in the kitchen, because I think he gives a morale boost if I put him in there, so he'll be shoved straight into that. So yeah, we have completed the tutorial sector, dealt with the Caretaker, and we're now on our way home through the Delta Quadrant. So time to explore, find out what the next missions bring us. Hopefully we don't get too many people killed, and hopefully we don't, don't die on the way. Ooh, we've just got a load of crew who escaped the slave camp from the Kazon. So that gives us another 21 crew. That's great, it gives us more crew to work in the rooms. However, I now need to house them all. So that's going to be fun. We're going to have to deal with that one. So Jeremy's going to give a little speech to the crew. I'm going to sign off for this episode. So I'll thank you all for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, don't forget to like and I will manage to say this properly eventually. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and comment down below if you like what you see, or if you want to see other games on the channel. And I will catch you next time, everybody. Thanks for watching.